dogs and their owners are lucky to have Hig. With years of experience in fostering and adopting dogs, Stacey Riera has created something beneficial and modern for both dogs and their owners. Stacey Riera is the co-founder of Hig, a vet-recommended skincare line for dogs. Devoted to shelter dogs, Stacey and her husband visit shelters and associations every month to bathe, care for, and spend time with dogs. In addition, they photograph them for social media to spread the word as advocates for their adoption.
Thank you so much, Stacey Riera, for joining us today on AwareNow and having this fabulous conversation that we are about to have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So your life has been spent in the fashion and creative industry, a model, an actress. Stacey, you are now also a new mom. Congratulations. In addition to that, though, you are also the co-founder of, tell me that I'm saying this correctly, is it Hig?
Hig.
Hig. And
Hig.
This is what I needed to know. Pairing your experience in fashion with your passion for pets, specifically dogs, shelter dogs, in fact. So I would love to go back to the very, very beginning of this love of yours. Please tell us about the very first dog that you ever fell in love with.
Okay, well, it's really difficult because I've grown up all my life with dogs. But so I would have to say that I guess I have two answers, because of course it's always your first love of a pet is always when you're a child, and it's your parents' pet. So that would be a boxer that I grew up with, Gemma. She was definitely my parents' dog. Mm-hmm. But I would say my love for a dog that, you know, in an experience of my own, would be when I was living in Singapore. I was on a modeling contract there, and I based myself there in Asia. And I was on a shoot for, I don't remember, it was a brand similar to Zalando in Germany. They were shooting a campaign, and I was a part of that campaign. And there was this beautiful English bulldog on the set, and it was having a great time, and it was, you know, it had dribble everywhere. But I went in, I got on the floor with the dog, as I usually do, and this dog was just beautiful. And the person who was taking care of her, I said, "My gosh, you have a beautiful dog." And she's like, "No, it's not my dog, I'm the volunteer." And I'm like, "Oh, so where's the dog from?" She said, "It's from the shelter here. Like, we've bought it out, you know, for the shoot. I don't know, it had all these treats and things. They were giving it a nice day, I guess." And I'm like, "Oh my God, the dog doesn't have a home." And it sat with me. That was the first experience I've had where, I mean, you know, I was very young. I think I was 18 years old. I was traveling with a suitcase. I had my, you know, my things, my life, and I couldn't stop thinking about this dog. I think 2 days went by. I called the shelter and I said, "Look, I'll foster the dog." I couldn't adopt it because I was too young to know what my life entailed above the next month, never mind, you know, the next years. So I said, "I'll foster the dog." So I did. I went to the shelter and I took this beautiful, for some reason, her name escapes my brain, which is terrible because she really was like my first love, but I don't remember what her name was. But she was this beautiful young English bulldog, and I took her back to my apartment in Singapore, and she slept on the bottom of my bed. And it was the first experience I had, like, real love for a dog, that, one, of my own experience, and two, that was from the shelter. Mm-hmm. It was incredible. And I think 3 weeks later or 4 weeks later, she got adopted. So wow. I had to give her over, and I was so upset, but I felt amazing to be able to help. And the change, she just came alive when she just walked out of the doors. It was incredible. That was my first dog.
Well, and I love that you bring up the fact that you can't remember her name, because here's the thing, it's true in life, even with the people that we meet. We don't always necessarily remember the names, but we remember the way they make us feel.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't know why I don't remember, but I can't remember her name. There's been too many dogs in my life. I don't remember all the names.
I imagine you had quite a few. You know, so what is it then that was it this first dog that inspired you to seek out and to serve, to save rescue dogs? Was it that experience?
Yeah, I've always been very passionate about animals in general. Not so much dogs, but all animals in general. For example, when I lived in Singapore, we had this big problem about the palm oil. You probably heard about it, the burning of the forest for palm oil, the orangutans, etc. I was always quite extreme. Like, I'm getting on a plane tomorrow, I'm going, I need to save as many orangutans as I can. I was always I went to Indonesia, I went to the elephant sanctuary. It's kind of something I always looked for wherever I went. Like, I go to Indonesia, okay, then I have to go to the elephant sanctuary. It was like I needed to help somehow. Dogs, I guess I just felt like I knew more about because I'd grown up with them. I felt very connected to them. So yeah, I this connection kind of grew over the years. Does that answer your question very well?
No, it does. I know, absolutely. No, it does for sure. So you always had this spirit of wanting to serve, to save, this connection with animals, and then
it started with animals, and then I don't know, I guess I just have this special connection with dogs. I love all animals, but I mean, I'm the woman who always has I call my husband, I've got a bird in a box in the garden and I have to save it. I'm that person.
Well, that's a beautiful person to be, I will say. Let's talk about names. One that I will always remember, and I will always remember how to pronounce now, Pig. So let's talk about this name. Where did it come from? What's about this name?
So it derives from a Danish word. Everybody always asks me if I'm from Denmark. No, I'm not. Although I did get married there, so
there you go.
It helps. But no, actually I have to give the credit to my husband because he's very creative. He's also a creative. He's very creative in these ways. We took the word Hig with an E, and to be honest, I remember in our old house we had a picture that was hung on the wall, and Hig with an E, it was in black letters, and it means something that gives you warmth, coziness, offers you a safe space, knowing it's exactly what your dog does. So this name was always around our heads, and I mean it goes perfectly for the feeling and emotion that your dog gives you. And my husband said, okay, but if you take the E out, it can be a derivative, that's the right word, of hygiene. So we played on the word a lot. We mixed it up and we ended up with Hig. And that's where so it's a mix of hygiene, a play on words, and in Denmark, a feeling and an emotion that your dog gives to you.
Oh, that's absolutely beautiful. So beyond the name now, let's talk about what you believe, because from your website, which is beautiful, I will say, you state the following: we believe in a world where the art of perfumery is adapted and made available to our dogs. So paired with this proclamation that you make is this product line that sounds and must smell amazing, because you had me at rosemary and cedar. What? I would just love to hear the story behind the scenes of your shampoo and cologne for dogs.
Right, yeah. So I've been, very long story short, I've been rescuing and fostering dogs for so many years. I mean, literally from when I was 18 years old. In every country that I'd gone to, in every country I'd lived in, visited, etc. If I had a long enough time spent there, I would take a dog. I had the time, I had the place, I would take. And just over time, especially when I lived in the Middle East, so I was living just outside of Dubai, and I was fostering dogs, and I just had my first rescue. And I had a lot of, especially in that climate, I had a lot of dogs with skin problems. Skin conditions, a lot. I mean, I had to deal with leishmania and Allié and all different kinds of diseases, which also cause skin problems. And so I was always asking, as everybody would, to the vet, the associations that we were a community, what can I give the dog? Because, I'm a little bit lost here. It just always seemed to be medication. you can put antibiotics this, antibiotic, and it was so strong. And you know, for the tick repellent, it's this horrible, like potent pipette that you have to put. And yes, lots of people put it. I put it very rarely on my dogs, which shouldn't, probably they would slap me on the wrists. But I just realized that everything was very strong, like very potent. So I'm a little bit of a research geek, so if I feel like I can do something myself, I'll try to do it. I won't just be like, oh, it says it works, okay, let's put it. I like to really research. So I went online and oh my goodness, and then I talked with veterinarians and I talked with pharmacies, and if I put aloe vera on this or this extract of this plant, will this help with this? And eventually I had all these little bits of information and I thought, right, okay, I'm gonna put that in one. And I was in my kitchen mixing up vitamin E capsules from the pharmacy, vitamin E, I'm gonna put that in there, and this foamy shampoo and substance I came up with. And it started working. It was really working. The skin was getting better. I had one dog, Gypsy Rose. She had black skin when I had her. She suffered Allié, which is a horrible disease of the blood, but she was black, which was awful because she was a blonde ginger girl. So that was the girl that I really needed to help her skin. And all of a sudden, by the months, her skin was pink. And I thought, that's it. If you just take like a moment to really dive in, you know, what is actually beneficial, like what can really help with, you know, dry skin or skin spots, hot spots, like what can really work. So I started literally making it myself. And then some friends would ask me like, my dog's got really dry skin, like what can I put? And I'd be like, give them an oatmeal bath. I'd be like, Stacey, this is magic. Like, how does this work? It wasn't that I invented it. It was just that I took the time to put these things together. So that is literally where the base of me making my products. I mean, these are in tins and jars, in, you know, nothing fancy. Then I moved to Europe and I had to set up a whole new life, etc. So I didn't touch it for a while. I got my little tins that were really, you know, just like antique vintage pieces. And I didn't touch it for a while. About a year or two into living here, I went back into it because again, I caught the bug. I wanted to help. I adopted 2 more dogs. And one, especially Billy Boy, our boy, is the most special dog in my life. I've had many, but Billy is so special. He has a very intense story, very intense. I've lived very intense moments with him. My husband also. We've slept in animal hospitals during 9 months pregnant, you know, very special. So I really started diving in again. And my husband was, Stacey, there's a huge gap here for this because he's, like I said, he's very visually talented. Mm-hmm. And so we started market researching, like, okay, but somebody's got to be doing this for sure. So we started doing a lot of market research. And what we noticed was you can find maybe a lavender shampoo or a tea tree, which, by the way, tea tree is, I wish I could tell the whole world, but I shouldn't, it's just me. But tea tree is really bad for your dog. And when I see like tea tree shampoo or products, I'm like, please don't put that on your dog. Because the more I dove into, it was like, you don't want to put that on your dog. Anyway, so long story short, that was when we decided to bring everything together. So I took all the formulations that I had, carried on doing more research, worked with a technician in the lab to see like how these components can fit together better, like is my ratio okay, etc. They fine-tuned my formulas. And I said to my husband, there's no way am I going to sell something that smells like lavender, or, you know, because there's so many out there, you know, it's got the and there's nothing wrong with this, but it's got the dog's ears on the bottle and it's lavender calming shampoo. I wanted something cool, something trendy, you know, modern. So the scent for me, now my husband will tell you, I don't like to admit it myself, but I have a very fine nose, like extremely. I'm very particular with scents. For me, it's very, very important. Scents for me reminds me of a place, a moment, and I wanted to put that through my brand. So I said to Joanne, your dog, you smell every day. It's the smell of your house. It's the smell on your clothing when you get close. It's everywhere. So it's got to be something good. So I said to Joanne, right, I want to be the Aesop Lelabo Byredo of dog care. I want something good, something that they're like, my gosh, I would wear that myself. So I go to Barcelona in the center. I find a couple of perfumers. I work with them. I have a list of fragrances that are only safe for dogs because not all are. And I have a list and I'm like, okay, I'm going to take bits and I'm going to come up with something that is so good. People are going to be like, wow, I will wear this. So all that together, the components with the lab, the fragrance, I take the fragrance to the lab. And then my husband said, okay, this needs to be cool, modern, trendy, and something. That's why I say it's scientifically formulated for dogs and aesthetically for humans, because we want something that they're like, yeah, my dog wears Hig, like it's cool. It's not like, the fluffy. And that's literally it. That's how we became around. The branding, the image, everything.
Yeah, I mean, just from what I've seen on your site and through this campaign, which we'll talk about in a moment, that it seems like it's very much a lifestyle brand, because to your point, your dog is with you all the time. It's, the smell is there, that and so to make it one that you love and, just as much as your dog.
Yeah.
How amazing.
And to be beneficial for me, what I really love to express to people is, okay, you can buy something that's really aesthetically pleasing, really beautiful, or it says it's a calming product and you love the smell, but always read the ingredients. And I always say to all my customers and all my clients, like, please read the ingredients, because a lot of the list is this long. You could be triggering an allergy, you could be doing some damage that you're not quite sure, because you just always be vigilant. So I wanted to put something out there that was very cool and trendy and smells good, but something that my customers come back to me and say it actually works. The dog can smell great, but I need your skin to improve.
Exactly. That's the more important of the two. And so be able to find form and function, here you go. I mean, that's the magic right there. So so you, as well as we, believe in the power of a story. In your recent adoption campaign, you created a very bold, vibrant, beautiful body of work consisting of stunning photographs and little short bios, little short stories. You partnered with a fashion photographer, a number of models, and the eco-friendly dog brand Allié to raise awareness about the importance of adopting from shelters and rescue organizations. Okay, so it's brilliant. Where did this concept come from? One day you just thought, oh, this is a thing. How did this come to you?
So the I know you spoke in Spanish, and the first idea was that here at the moment in Spain, the government is trying to pass a law that excludes hunting dogs from the normal, let's say, Animal Rights Act. And the reason being is because if you go outside of the city, north, south, deeper into the country, you'll find a big hunting culture, which, we have it in England, you have it in the States. There's a big, you're either for it, not for it, or just people don't talk about it. I'm not a judgmental person. You have your life, your things, but when it comes to cruelty, that's where, for me, I draw the line. So they're trying to pass this law where hunting breeds, which for me personally includes all my dogs, because I've got hunting breeds, they don't have the same rights, basically. And the problem is the hunters, the guys, the men, the women who do the hunting, that's where the cruelty comes from. It's yes, okay, it's everywhere. It's your neighbor or the guy living in the middle of the city. But the majority is coming from hunters because they have a vast amount of hunting dogs. They don't live in good conditions. If they don't do their job well, the atrocities that they do here is terrible, and especially with galgos. I mean, I don't want to disturb anyone or you or go into the nitty-gritty because it's not very nice, but they do terrible things to them when they've finished with them, which me along with everybody else just doesn't understand. And so what I wanted to do was, especially in this moment, because it's such an important moment where everybody in this community is trying to make a difference, and the voice is very loud at the moment, and it's great because I'm hoping, especially generations to come, this will change, because they all deserve to have rights. Cruelty should never be tolerated, and on whatever level or whatever you're using an animal for, or So that was the reason for the moment. I said to my husband, I need to do this now. Plus, we work every month with animal shelters. All of our models are the social media. I say almost because I have my pups on there also. They're all shelter dogs. So I don't put out an ad, hey, anybody got a beautiful dog? Like, come and be our model. No, I go to the shelter and I use the brand and our image, which is growing really nicely because we're a month old. We use that to benefit them. So the harsh reality is, and it's horrible really, but we're human beings and we will be, we look for the most beautiful dog in the shelter, and the most beautiful dog will always be adopted. Maybe the one with 3 legs, or the one that doesn't see well, or the one whose hair is not the most, they will be left for the longest. Some of them even live their whole lives there. We target those dogs. we go into those dogs. We make them see how beautiful they can be and how beautiful they are, and we push those dogs first. So I wanted to do that on a level that was success stories, sharing, like, look how you can have a connection with an animal if you adopt, which you can see like with the greyhound track. I mean, this dog is just incredible, so noble, and with his owner just such a connection. And then you have dogs like Cookie, who's 7 years old, and she's a Pomeranian, which you don't usually find Pomeranians, but she had her human parents. They were a little bit older. One day decided that they just didn't want the dog anymore, so they just took her things, went to the neighbor's house, put her with her things. You deal with her, we don't want her anymore. I don't know how a person can do that. I would like to understand it one day, but I don't. So I wanted to put all these stories out there, and not just give the, poor me, please help, but like, look actually what happens. Look at the connection, like, look at what you can achieve. Track is 7 years old. They had him when he was almost 3. You don't need a pup all the time, and it depends on your lifestyle. And I really wanted to push that out there, that voice, that you can have such an incredible connection. Honestly, the connection I have with my Polenka, Billy, is, I love my others, but I have such a connection with him because he's grateful for life. He's grateful for you. He knows, they understand, like, they're not stupid, they know. And I really want other people to see that. I wanted to push that out there, and in the best way that I could, which is, like you say, I've always been in the creative industry. So I wanted to put something that is a little, it sounds terrible, maybe it's a little shallow, fashion and beautiful, and it's like, it's here with something very deep. Plus the whole idea that, everything always has to be aesthetically beautiful for us to like it. Okay, so what if we take Talio, for example? He's the Staffy mix. In the shoot at the very end, I mean, that guy, his intense story. We believe he was used for fighting. I mean, the poor boy is full of scars, but I wanted to make him in this he's like, you know, he's the cover of a fashion magazine, you know, and that's what I wanted to push out there, that it doesn't always have to be beautiful, and you know, it's the connection is deeper.
Well, you did such a beautiful job, and
Thank
no, I don't think it's shallow. I think to be able to use, anytime you can use fashion, something beautiful, something gorgeous, to show the beauty in something else, I think
Yeah.
it's just fantastic, and you did such a brilliant job with it. It's really just
Thank
stunning.
you.
My other question about that campaign, will there be more campaigns? I'm hoping that your answer is yes, because I want to just look at those campaigns all day long.
No, absolutely. Yeah. We have a few up our sleeve, actually, for different causes. And I'm so happy, but the fashion photographer that we worked with, she's wonderful. She's always shot models and lifestyle commercials. She had such an amazing time photographing the dogs that she's all on board. Please, more. Like, can we shoot more dogs, more campaigns? And so I'm like, of course we can. And I would like to put a few more messages out there in different ways that we can. But also, I have to mention it because she's so worth mentioning. As you mentioned, the collaborating brand that we worked with from the UK, Edgy. She's wonderful. She has a line that's harnesses, collars, leashes, and it's all made from it's all sustainable, and it's all made from recycled plastics. Every collar or every piece that you buy, she'll give you like a diagram of how many plastic bottles were used for, you know, she's very aware and very knowledgeable. She's incredible. She literally sent me a message one day saying, okay, I'm sending you a full collection of the new collection. I want you to donate it to all of them. You can give it to the shelters, you can give it to whoever you want, but I want to give something to the campaign. And I'm like, well, let's put them beautiful, you know, like Cody has the Bad Dogs Club, you know, he's
Right.
clumsy shepherd. So she was really sweet, because her donation was, she soaked up so much expense for that. We had 8 dogs, you know, she gave us a whole collection. She was so giving, so excited. So I have to mention her because she's been wonderful to be able, because otherwise I wouldn't have had anything to put on the dogs, you know, a nice something. So
yeah, to have a fashion too, you must have fashion, and so it sounds like a beautiful partnership. And I think that's the part of it, right? Especially when you're just starting out and introducing a new brand to the market, to find the right partners that not only share like the same look, the same feel, but the same passion and intention. And so
I would say more that through a connection, because we're all very different in our own ways. Her brand voice is very funny. It makes me laugh a lot. She swears a lot. She's very out there, ours is a little bit more subtle, a little bit more, but the connection is there.
Well, I'm so glad that we are making this connection here and now, and excited to see where HIG goes from here. And just thank you for sharing your story, your passion, and thank you for helping all of us become a bit more aware now. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.